Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. It is Francesco here. I hope everyone's having a great day so far. So in today's feature, we're going to be talking a little bit about calendar events and things like that versus tasks. I think this is a valuable topic because I've had a fair amount of questions about how you approach this in terms of applications and applying it during your routine. And I want to share my process and just best practices from specialists like David Allen and the GTD process. So guys, just before we start, I wanted to let you know about the Skillshare course or class, which is available now. If you go in the description, you can get 2 months premium on Skillshare for free, which is great. And if you already have Skillshare, do let me know either in email or in the comments below, and I'll try and hook you up with a free access code. So make sure to go and check that one out in the description below. You'll get my new course or class about finding your perfect to-do list application, which we've had already like 50 plus students, which is amazing. So today's topic is calendars versus tasks, and I think this is an important topic at the moment, mainly with New Year coming up. It's making sure that you keep your calendar really efficient and your task list very efficient too. So the way that I see this topic is that calendars are for your meetings and activities. These are static events that you can go to and that you need to turn up for, and that's how I sort of view calendars. Tasks are more for actionable items over your next 30 days. That's how I view tasks. So what I see a lot of people doing is, what they do is they tend to put a lot of their tasks on the calendar, which is absolutely fine. I totally understand if you would like to do that. But sometimes people get confused why the calendar is quite cluttered, and that might be the case that they've brought over some tasks or actionable things over to their calendar, or they've overpopulated their calendar. This is a common thing that happens. A calendar with a lot of stuff on it tends to be a little bit less productive because you have this view of a lot of stuff and you're sort of like, whoa, there's so much on it. But potentially it doesn't have to be like that. You can sort of use them in tandem together and in non-conflicting ways. Now, just before we start, the actual calendar and task separation thing is actually a derivative of the GTD book, which is Getting Things Done by David Allen. So it's definitely worth checking it out in the description below. It's a really great read, one that I read like almost 10 years ago and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So I definitely recommend checking that one out and checking that section too. Another assistive book which will help is The Productivity Ninja by Graham Alcott. Graham's based in the UK and it's a really thoroughly good book actually, and one that I highly recommend. So there are tasks that are quite weird and sometimes tough to differentiate between what is a task and what is an event. So for example, like walk the dog is a tough one. You might put walk the dog in your calendar, but you also might put it in your to-do list. Now, what I recommend for this is if you do it on a regular basis, then I would recommend putting it as a recurring event inside of your task manager. If you do this as a one-off thing, maybe like once a week, or you do it for someone else, for example, maybe then you would put it in your calendar. But again, if you know you're going to do it and you've got into that habit, then it might not be worth taking up the space in your calendar. Of course, it really depends on how you work. But again, this is something that you need to be aware of as you're building your calendar. So moving on to the next example, let's say plan wedding. Let's say you've dedicated a bit of time in the evening to work out like wedding admin, or you're planning certain things for your wedding. I don't know, let's say it's for another event as well. You can change it up whatever you like. Let's say you've put it in your calendar, you've put plan wedding in your calendar. This is absolutely fine. Making sure that you've put some time out for that, blocking time out, that's absolutely fine. But if it's detailed actions between that, if you're breaking them up into like, do this, do this, do this, it might be a little less useful, and you might want to put that as a block. So just a block of time, and then use your task manager to actually break down the subtasks involved in that block of time. I know I get a lot of those questions a lot of time about how you should approach that with projects, and I think that's a useful tactic to have, to make sure that if you're blocking time out, that's fine, but make sure you've broken it down into subtasks here. And my final one is like go for a run. This is a good example. Many people put it on their calendar as a regular thing, but again, like me, I have infrequent runs or infrequent gym sessions where I don't have a specific time to go to them. What I'll tend to do is I'll tend to put them in my calendar a lot of the time because I feel like they're so infrequent that they're not going to be routine, so I can put them as recurring. but they stand alone there and it's very useful. Although if I don't know what time I'm going to be doing it in my day, I tend to put it in my task manager because I can then shift the time based on it. So those were 3 examples that a lot of people get confused with, and those are the approaches that GTD recommend that you should take. Of course, it's definitely worth going away, reading that GTD book and sort of getting a bit more context on it. And of course, approaching all the the calendar side of things each time, which is very useful. Now, what I do with my calendar is I tend to keep it very clean. Here's a sort of example of it. I tend to keep all of my events, meetings, very specific, static appointments that I need to go to. If there are some recurring ones, they go in the calendar, but if they're task-based, actionable, they go in my task manager like Todoist. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed this feature. I hope it gave you a bit more clarity. I've had a lot of questions about this. I'm going to include some more information in the description below so you can go and check that out. Please make sure before you go to hit subscribe and the bell notification. And also, if you are interested in getting 2 months free premium on Skillshare, hit that in the description below, and you also get my class for free too. Anyway guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure you have a great week, keep productive, and I'll see you guys very soon. Cheers.